Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Post Fight. And in this edition of Post Fight, I'll be doing UFC Fight Night, Fiziev versus Gamrot. And yeah, so for this card, I went 5-6 or 5-11. Terrible card. It was one little terrible fight that shifted. This could probably would have been a 6-5 card or at least a 5-5 card, but yeah, you know the fight already, but we're gonna get into it. I'm just gonna kind of recap the fights. Well, not the fights, my L's, and what can I learn? I don't feel like it's a whole lot I could learn from this fight. I feel like I made pretty good decisions. It's just like, you can make good decisions and then you'll still have bad night. You can make bad decisions and have good nights. It's just nature of the game. You're gonna have these nights, and literally you have the perfect prediction, and then this one little misstep by a fighter or by bad judging or anything like that, and then you have it go the other way. So it could be a lot of different things. So it's just part of the game. You can't be too mad about it or get caught too much up into that. You gotta keep making good decisions, and you make good decisions regularly. Always making good decisions. Then it's always gonna be you more often than not gonna be coming out the victor. So, and more often than not, I'm definitely coming out the victor. So I can't be too mad when it's the other way around. So yeah, first L was Tamir's Vidal versus Rendon, and really with this one, the confidence probably could have been a little bit lower, but Vidal was coming in here. She was 29 years old, like 28 years old, going versus 35-year-old woman, whose primary advantage probably was her striking, but she didn't have very much power. She pushed a lot of punches, so your main advantage is supposed to be your striking, and you pushing your punches and got no real power. No, Vidal would be, with her improvements, especially being a younger fighter, she'll be able to make adjustments and get better and better with each fight. But she came in looking worse than she looked her last fight, and with zero game plan, her coaches weren't helping at all. So, and even despite all that, she still came close to winning. But this poor lack of fight IQ to just like keep allowing yourself to get taken down, no real effort to defend and take down, lost you the fight. And even like I said, despite making all the mistakes in the world, it still was a split decision. So Rendon was not no smart side, was not no great pick. It was just you got lucky that her coaches were mentally on vacation. She was mentally on vacation. It was just a terrible fight IQ. Both of those fighters are terrible, and both of them are fade material going forward. And what I can learn from this one is that Vidal, at least if she makes some adjustments, she's gonna be easy for some, a decent fighter to take her down and control her for 15 minutes, or like catch a kick and throw her on the ground. And now she got sensitive nipples. She wants to be a man, but she still got a very sensitive, weak chest. So punch her in the titty, and she's gonna be looking for a ref break. But so it's different things to pick up on that one. And Rendon, she's 35 years old, and this is the best she can produce. She ain't going very far. And then you'll see she might pick up one more win, maybe two more wins like that she don't deserve. But at that, like really beyond that, even that's a stretch. So she's not gonna last very much longer. Just not a very good fighter, and that's not me being petty or salty. It's the truth. Just a clear analysis that's really, you don't have to look very hard to see that she ain't going very far. Yeah. Next one was the big one, Jacob Malcolm versus Cody Brundage. And that pick really should have been like every bit high or lock in there. It just Malcolm made a bad decision. He probably was trying to get the finish, and I was hoping he would get a finish as well, because I thought this was a fight he could get a finish in and make a statement in. I think he was trying to chase that statement so much. They got a little bit of hit himself, and he hit him with an elbow to the back of the head and got a DQ. He was a rightful fighter. He was the right side. He was high confidence, low confidence. He was every bit of even a minus 1,000 in this one. Probably you want a better value, but I mean, he wasn't minus 1,000. I'm saying, he looked minus 1,000, minus 2,000, minus 3,000. It just, made a poor decision in mid fight, or maybe it was instincts that happened, and instincts, and cost him the fight. What more can you say? Like, you have all these cards, every now and then you can have some weird stuff happen, or these little weird stuff like that happen, but you just try to make the best decisions, so you win more than you lose, and like you're making the best decision. You can't help what fighters are going to do. You can't help somebody slip on a banana peel. You can't help if some guy decides to just throw the fight away or whatnot. And it is what it is. So that's the second one. Third one was Argueta versus Miles Johns, and this one Miles Johns. I saw the stat line. I was kind of thinking, like, firstly looking at this fight, I was thinking, Argueta, this is a good fight for him. He was just coming off that good performance. It was stopped early and later turned to a no contest. He was looking the best he ever looked, looking real good. But then when I started really looking at the stat line, Miles Johns had like a 93% takedown defense ratio, and he was clearly the more technical striker. But I tried, put a shoe on that didn't fit for Argueta here, and that's like probably the first, I guess, real clear bad decision I made on this card. Is it's not really a bad decision because momentum and whatnot, but yeah, it was like clear stylistic matchup where he would be able to address the wrestling of Argueta and outstrike him. That's what happened. And I thought his pace would be able to make up for the lack of striking technique or the striking disadvantage, but ultimately it was not enough. And Mal Johnson was able to get the better of him and win the fight. So just looking for wrestling and this aggression was not enough. And the stats already kind of reflected it. Like so, Mal Johnson takedown offense held up, and he was able to outstrike him. So, guess going forward, and I even said in the quick pick, I was like, people that typically beat Mal Johns are people that could stuff his takedowns, continue to pressure him, and they are better strikers than him, and they could pressure him with striking. That's not Dan Argueta. But that was a word of people that have beaten Mal Johns and have had success against success against Mal Johns. And I was trying to force Argueta into that mode, and he was not the style that had caused Mal Johns issues in his career. But Mal Johns still Mal Johns. I think you put him in there with a guy that's similar style that has beat him before. I think they beat him again. And Argueta style people, I think he'll have good success against them. Like, because he can stop their takedowns. He has solid enough wrestling, offensively and defensively, to address their wrestling. And he's probably a better striker than most of these guys that's gonna try to wrestle him. That's just the truth. Most of the guys, not all the guys. And yeah, that's the third L. Fourth L. All right, I'm just gonna jump down. I don't think this is the next one chronologically, but Ricardo Ramos versus Charles Jourdain. And the fight was playing out. I went low confidence, so it's not like I went like crazy confidence. I think the only fight that I lost that was high confidence was the Malcolm fight. The other one was like low confidence, average confidence. But yeah, this one was a low confidence. But Ricardo Ramos was doing what I would want him to do and thought he would do. And I saw that Jourdain had like a 43% takedown defense ratio, and I have seen him in fights, and I have seen him lose, and I have seen that been the path to beating him in a lot of his losses. And I thought Ricardo Ramos should have been able to replicate, and he was doing it pretty well, but ultimately Charles Jourdain was able to catch him in the submission and tap him out. So he was following suit and doing what he needed to do. But maybe he underestimated Jourdain's grappling, or maybe feel like I was in the submission early and I was able to easily pass to the side and even attempt a Von Flue choke and exploit to take the submission. And maybe he got a little bit too too comfortable and getting comfortable. He got submitted. But Jourdain that's definitely working that submission. I think he caught Venata in the same submission in the past, but it was actually after hurting Venata. It was not like a fresh Venata or Venata just wrestling him. He got caught submission, like he hurt Venata and then got him in that submission when Venata tried panic wrestle. But yeah, another case where you can't really feel too. I feel like I did good intel, but I guess going forward now, it's going to need to be the full package or just at a higher level, like Bryce Mitchell, Amazar Evloyev type guys that might be able to wrestle Jourdain, or at least for now until he starts to decline. But right now it seems like he's starting to make a good, find good weapons and good tools to attack people that's just looking to grapple him, and they don't have the full package to really press him in the striking as well. And it's kind of looking more so just to crowd him and go for takedowns. He's finding tools now. His takedown defense really ain't improving, but he could now throw him with submission. He has a very good submission that he has, as has helped him, stop guys that have been looking to wrestle him. But yeah, Jourdain, definitely stocks rise. And Rambo's been a grappler like he is, and that's definitely gonna drop the stock that you got submitted by a guy who's primarily a striker and a guy who has primarily been beaten by grapplers. So like a double, not good look for you. But good one for Charles Jourdain. Nothing to take away from him. Only give him props. And yeah, that's the fourth L. Fifth L is Tim Means versus Andre Fiallo. And yet another low confident pick here. And ultimately, I just went with the plus 160, not plus 165. I went with the minus 165 KO prop, like general KO fight. The fight ends by KO/TKO. Prop in it was minus 165, so that's a pretty good value. People all going throwing chalk and stuff on minus 300 on Midzuki and Oe and stuff like that's a good prop or whatnot. When this was probably one of the better props, like a fight that is going to end in only one way. This guy can finish this guy. This guy can finish that guy. And yeah, my confidence was low going this one. I've said it several times. But, just play the general KO, and regardless of who wins, and they're going to win by KO, it's going to cash. So that played out pretty well. But yeah, with low confidence, like Fiallo was coming off like a 3-5 losing streak, and I think all three of them by like knockout. Means kind of had a mixed bag of losses. I think he had like TKO loss, submission loss here. Probably, yeah, kind of mixed bag of losses. And in reality, I feel he was much more competitive in all three of his fights than at least the majority of Fiallo's fights, his losses. But Yeah, I feel like it was kind of a pick 'em fight, but I can really lean to a 40-year-old in a pick 'em fight, or 39-year-old in a pick 'em fight versus a 29-year-old. Yes, he was on a 3-fight losing streak all by knockout, and you kind of want a losing streak with a mixed bag of losses. And I did think Tim Means was the more technical fighter, but age is ultimately undefeated. So I was like, I'm gonna lean to the young guy. And it was kind of playing that way out. Like Tim Means was looking cleaner and sharper early, but it seemed like Fialo kept finding ways to rally and hurt him. Like I said, he would get robbed, but that youth would bring him back in the fight. Like if he was an older fighter, he'd be dead to rights. But that youth was keeping him in the fight, and then he would like land. He wasn't even landing his clean or his technical or as sharp as Tim Means, but he was having effect. When he started really connecting with Tim Means was shelling up and starting to like he was looking for out almost. Not looking for out, but trying to find his AARP or whatever, life alert or whatnot. But yeah, they were sticking to it, and both of them show heart. But Tim Means' heart and technique was the better on the night, and got the job done. But yeah, that's when I can't really feel like, oh, I made a mistake. Like this guy's better, this guy's this. But I feel the majority of cases, like a pick and fight like that, the younger fighter typically going to win. Even if they kind of skin a little bit, they're going to get up for the older guy, especially the older guy like a legend. They want to put him on the resume. They're going to get up for the older guy. They come in like 2 inches taller, 20 pounds bigger, and like, yeah, this whole different feet with longer reach, and they're going to come in there and look good for one night and beat up the old veteran. And they're going to go back to their regularly scheduled program of being a scrub, and it's go back being like less than 500. That's what they're going to do beyond that. But yeah. Do I feel bad about that play? I do not, especially like as far as approaching it with such low confidence and just kind of just looking at it for what it is and say, fight that's really pick 'em on paper, and played out to be really pick 'em. It was back and forth the whole time, and I believe that it was the fight of the night. And ultimately, the real lock of that fight was in the distance, and not trying to predict an individual fighter. And yeah, I feel like I can't help but ramble on these videos. But now to the sixth and final L was the main event: Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot. And I have mixed feelings about this fight. I feel like kind of watching it a little bit. First time I feel like at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like you win, you lose, you lose. Like it's not about he got injured, so it was a fluke or anything like that. The man won. Like end of the day, what's going to be on the record? A win. TKO win. He won. And it was a very close competitive fight. You could say you could argue for Z won the first round, and the second round was going Gamrot's way. We don't know if the fight would have momentum would have stick with Gamrot, and he would continue to win and take him to deep rounds, which Fiziev was supposed to fade out in, or if Fiziev was kind of go for like a Marlon Vera type fight, but not as passive as Marlon Vera, but like really just picking the shots and not really trying to overexert himself and just wait for that moment. He was coming close with some good shots and landing some clean shots on Mateusz Gamrot. And it was like it was only a 2-round fight. It didn't play out 3 rounds, didn't play out 4 rounds, 5 rounds. A 5-round fight. The only 2 rounds really roughly played out. So he could have eventually found a shot. So I ain't gonna count him out and say, he was going to just lose or whatnot. But very close competitive fight that ended. So and going into this fight, it was not like it was a case where it was such a clear tell of like who's gonna win or who's gonna lose. It was definitely a toss-up fight and unfortunate outcome. But hey, the man Gamrot won, so give him his props. The better man won. Like you win, you the better man won. Whether it be by leg check, elbow check, or whatnot, slip on a banana peel, you break your own leg throwing a kick, whatever it may be, or break your own fist or something on somebody's skull. It is what it is. Like just go back there. You got to step for what it is. You can't really make too many excuses and just come back better. So Gamrot won. Gamrot won. But yeah, it's going back to the beginning of everything what I was saying, getting back to the source material. Yeah, it was like Gamrot had not really fought a striker to the necessarily like that was like Fiziev with the takedown defense of Fiziev, and Fiziev had not really fought a grappler as aggressive as Gamrot. Is young, is aggressive with the cardio of Gamrot. But it played out to be a very high level chess match. But ultimately, again, ended in injury. But you can't take that as like, it was a no contest. He lost. He got injured. He lost. Or there was intentional that he defended the leg with the kick with his elbow, or it just happened to land on his elbow. He lost. So yeah, a loss is a loss, and I ended up 5-6 on the card. All I could do was try to learn from it. It's a couple of these fights that I could learn from, like the Vidal fight I could learn from. Definitely Miles Johns. That look at his stats and you know what his strengths are, you know what his weaknesses are, you know who he loses to, you know who he beats now to some degree, to some level, at least the level he's at now. We know he loses to this guy, he beats this guy, or he loses to these guys, he beats these guys. So those ones kind of more stick out. Like the Fiziev fight, I can't really learn as much from it because it didn't really play out too much. But they both look good and show wrinkles in other areas or their weaker areas in that one. So yeah, I guess. But the big ones again, kind of the Vidal one and Rendon, I could definitely fade those women, those two going forward. And the Mal Johns, I know we're like again his strengths and weaknesses, his styles that he benefits against, his styles he are detriments to him. And Argueta, kind of know a bit of his ceiling. So those kind of like again the main ones I know. We already know Tim Means ain't really going far. He's pushing 40. He gonna probably get mashed up and lose his next fight. And Fiallo likely gonna get cut his next fight, or just for the fact that they had a war, they probably both gonna get one more fight, and they both probably gonna lose their next fight. But yeah, Fiallo probably gonna get KO'd again. And yeah, that's like really all the ones I could kind of pinpoint. Yeah, Fiallo, I said that. Vidal, Johns. There really ain't nothing at all to learn from the Malcolm fight. So yeah, that's about all I can say. Can learn from these fights and try to, gauge, I guess, those fighters going forward, and maybe some other fighters who can kind of fit into the same mold or to the same narrative. And yeah, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.